Welcome to our new studio. Woo! What's up, Fumblers? We hope you like the new studio. We've moved locations, but it's really just a different part in my house. We have a lot to cover today. We're going to be discussing free agency, all of the movement happening around the NFL. But first, we wanted to discuss a new segment called Drink to That.
Woo!
And in Drink to That, we're going to be sharing stories, feel-good stories happening around the NFL, whether it be something very uplifting, inspirational, maybe players or people in their circle overcoming adversity.
Oh, wow.
And at the very end, we're going to be cheersing our drinks and having a drink to that.
So excited to have a drink to that. Anything that involves drinking, we're automatically in.
Period.
And today's Drink to That segment is brought to you by Positive Beverage. Now, you guys, listen up. Positive Beverage has a drink for every occasion. They have energy drinks to get you going in the morning, or even caffeine drinks to get you hydrated in the afternoon. They have lots of great flavors, 0 calories, and are filled with vitamins and electrolytes with overall better ingredients for healthier hydration. Now today I'm drinking a Berry Bliss. It is so delicious, you guys. I actually can't believe that it only has 0 calories. Like, I don't know how to get this flavor. 0. It's so good. And it's definitely something that we want you guys all to be adding to your daily routine. We absolutely love it. And cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to that. Okay, well, let's get to the story today in our Drink to That segment. I don't know if you guys have heard yet, but one of our favorite wives of the NFL is now pregnant with her hubby. And yes, I'm talking about Olivia Culpo and Christian McCaffrey. He's a running back on the 49ers. And if you guys haven't been following along, we talk about Olivia and Christian McCaffrey quite a bit. But this story is very inspirational because they got married last year. And we know that she's been struggling a little bit with endometriosis, and we can get into that a little bit later, but we're just so happy for them. They are, I want to call them NFL royalty. Like, totally. Everybody knows who they are. Olivia is an actress, a model. She was Miss Universe, and she can really do it all. And we're just so excited for them. And I know that she's going to be such an incredible mom, and seeing how great of a husband and soon to be father Christian McCaffrey is going to be. I just can't wait to see all of their content. And it's just, we're eagerly waiting for that baby, that sweet baby.
Give us the baby. We're eagerly awaiting your arrival. I can't imagine a more genetically blessed child.
100%.
Like, life isn't fair because like that baby just gets to be born to Miss Universe and one of the best athletes in the NFL. Like, not only are you rich, you're also not ugly. And like, if you're a boy, you're definitely going to be an athlete. If you're a girl, you're definitely going to be a model. Like, they will have it all. I'm so excited for the nepotism that is coming from this baby. And one thing, like one of my favorite types of content that Olivia posts that I think really shows off her personality is all of the stuff with like her mother-in-law, or she calls her like her monster-in-law. And it's just really fun. Like, you can tell they have such a great playful relationship. And I feel like adding a baby to the mix is just going to be so good because we know that she's so close with Christian's family, obviously very close with her own family. And it's like, they must all be overjoyed at this.
Yes.
So it's going to be such a fun chapter to watch. Do we think the baby's going to go to games?
Oh, yeah, of course.
As a newborn?
Yes.
Okay.
As a bebe?
As a bebe at the games, at the suite.
Yeah, maybe. But then also, I'm just thinking about those jawlines on that baby.
Oh my God, the baby's going to be snatched.
It is she or he or anything.
Should we make a prediction?
A girl?
Okay. I was actually thinking boy.
Wow, love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she gives like boy mom energy to me.
She does. Yeah. Even though she has 3 sisters, I feel like she's around Christian. She kind of knows like what that lifestyle is like. So I would be happy either way. I'm sure she would too. So I don't know.
Do you think that the baby, is it going to be baby McCaffrey, or do you think they'll hyphenate?
Does she now? I don't
No,
think she
I
does.
think she's just
It's
Culpo
Miss
now.
McCaffrey. in her bio, I think. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I was still going off of her handle. It's just Olivia Culpo, but I guess you can't really like give up that handle.
Right.
You got to get the baby's handle as soon as it's born.
Yeah. But she had to make it known in the bio.
Okay. That makes sense. That's cute.
Yeah.
Baby McCaffrey.
Yeah. So let's cheers to that.
I'll drink to that.
Yes.
I'll drink to baby McCaffrey in the future jawline.
Yeah. We love it. And just to like take a step back on her journey to motherhood, we know that Olivia has struggled with endometriosis pretty much since she was 15. And for anybody out there that has endometriosis, we know that it's a very hard to diagnose. She said that it took her, however many years, 10, 11 years to be diagnosed with endometriosis. And the average age of women getting diagnosed, it takes usually about that same time, 10 to 11 years. She saw over like 20 doctors and all of them said like, just take Tylenol or, you're being dramatic. And so I think it's hard as a woman when you're complaining of all of these symptoms, you're in so much pain, debilitating pain that you can't even leave your house. And people are telling you like, suck it up. Like you're being a little baby. Like
that's what's the crazy like gaslighting thing about like period pain is I do feel like it ranges so much, especially for different women, that it's like no one can truly accurately describe. Like when you're going through something painful, it's like, well, how painful? Like, oh, you didn't break your bone. You don't have this specific condition. Like you must be fine. And it's like, no, like stop invalidating these ladies' pain.
Yeah, exactly.
If it was men can't even handle the common cold.
Oh my gosh. It wouldn't take 10 years, surely. They would have surgery beds, like own hospitals set up just for them if they were complaining this much. Like women are so strong. We love to see it. And she's overcome all of that. I believe she had surgery back in 2020 on her endometriosis diagnosis. And she's been an advocate and for endometriosis and has spoken at like the endometriosis conference. I'm not sure exactly what the name is off the top of my head, but she was a spokeswoman for that. And so it's great that she's representing and taking advantage of her platform in a good way. And from what I've read about endometriosis, not only is it it's very painful, but it can also impact your ability to have children. Luckily for Olivia, that wasn't her case. But this is just, a PSA to get checked by your doctor. And luckily we will have Bebe at the end for Olivia and Christian McCaffrey, but her story is very inspirational and she's very open about it on social media. And I feel like when she's the most vulnerable, really.
Yeah. And it's great that she's taken such a like hard diagnosis and been so vocal and open about it, because like you're saying, if it takes a decade to diagnose, but she's talking about it and she has such a broad reach with her platform, like I can only imagine the messages she's getting from women saying, you helped me diagnose my endometriosis. No one knew what it was. I was in so much pain, and like how validating it finally is to get the diagnosis so you can get the help you need.
Yeah.
Like it's a really, obviously not a great situation, but for people with big platforms to go through that when they talk about it, I think it just has such a big impact.
Yeah, 100%. And this is also a PSA to all the partners, all the guys out there. If your girl has endo, like do not call her dramatic. Do not call her a drama queen. Olivia, in an interview, she talks about like how happy she is that Christian's mom raised them to be like, if your girl is ever on her period, like you draw a bath for her, like you get her food, you feed her water bottle, like you do all the things that a partner should do. And she just like lit up and talked about how Christian did all of those things. And she was so nice. Happy, and she was just so overjoyed that like, that's the love that she's getting and that she deserves. So, whether you have endo or not, you should be doing that, men.
Have you drawn a bath lately? Think about it.
Do you have one is the question. We don't have a bath, but
I like have a bath, but I don't see myself ever wanting to use it. It's like not like a vibey bath. It's like a shower.
And then they'll like
that happens to also be able to hold water, but like I don't even think there's a plug. And if there was, I'd throw it away. Yeah. It's not.
I had a bath like that, and it was like, oh, this I'm not feeling relaxed in here.
Yeah, I'm feeling actually more stressed if I'm suddenly sitting on the floor of my shower.
And then all of a sudden I'm like slipping while I'm standing too. Like, guess I should get one of these shower mats or whatever.
Yeah. So maybe, gentlemen, there's other ways to show your love. I think ask your girl how you can support and
how can I help?
It makes you a better man. And I don't know how the story got to that, but I'm glad that we can advise all of you men today.
Get chocolate.
Yeah. I'm sure all the men checked out as soon as we started talking about endometriosis. They're like, that doesn't apply to me. But like,
icky.
Hey, tune back in.
Yeah.
Boobies, hot women. Tune back in.
Alert. We'll come back for all the guy listeners because we are going to be talking about some free agency.
Yes.
Should we get started?
Let's do it.
There's been so much happening and like the stories just keep coming in and in. A lot of these were from a little bit earlier in the week, but I think we're covering what I want to call like the top headlines that a lot of people have been talking about.
Yeah, we're getting into the biggest headlines, and then we're also going to be talking about the winners and losers of free agency. It's always something we like to do. It's just, yes, this happened. Yes, these are the details, but like, what's the context behind that? Who's gaining? Who's losing from it? What fan base do you want to be a part of? And who is struggling right now? So there is no better place to start than with the biggest deal that we've seen this past week. We are, of course, talking about Josh Allen's historic contract with the Buffalo Bills. This young man, he has signed a 6-year deal with the Bills, $330 million, $250 million guaranteed. And that is the largest sum of guaranteed money in NFL contract history.
Wild.
So like, I don't know what I'm doing in 2030. I don't know what you're doing in 2030. Josh Allen knows he'll be playing for the Buffalo Bills and he'll be counting his dollars and he'll be doing great. I think that there's been a lot like that. I don't know. It's like not like a meme, but this has been going around on social media about the last 100 days of being Josh Allen. He gets engaged to Haley Steinfeld. He wins MVP of the 2024 NFL season. And now he has signed a fresh new $330 million contract. Like,
that's crazy.
An easy winner, obviously, is Josh Allen. It is so good to be Josh Allen. And when I was kind of thinking about this, and I think about this a lot with like NFL players, it's like, is this going to be tough one day? Like, is it going to be hard knowing that you are peaking in such a dramatic fashion at this age? Like, how are you ever going to top it? But I kind of think with especially these 3 life events, he's building his future with Haley. He's getting that money. He will be set for life, and he's leaving a legacy in the NFL in terms of his MVP award. Yeah. So I actually think there's no L's taken for Josh Allen. What I will say, I do have some losers in this scenario, but I want to get your thoughts first on the Josh Allen contract and his last 100 days.
I mean, I'm thrilled for it. I feel like I'm an honorary Bills Mafia fan just because we love Josh Allen. I love the perspective of looking back on his last 100 days, like how, like truly you are at your peak in life, but of course, when it comes to football players, they do have access and they do have the privilege to access literally whatever they want their life to be after this. They have the capital to go start their own business. We see that with Peyton Manning. He has Omaha Productions. I don't know how it's doing, but I feel like he's like producing almost every single commercial that's on TV that has some kind of athlete. And then he also, did he do Players too?
I'm not sure. He
produced one of the big popular like football series on streaming. So he's doing really well. All that to say, I think that Josh Allen, there's no better person in the NFL right now that's feeling as good as Josh Allen. Maybe Jalen Hurts because he just won the Super Bowl. But like all other components at work, in your relationships, financially, are just like hitting. Now it's just a matter of can you pull through, or will you fall into the trap of being one of the top quarterbacks who can't make it to the Super Bowl? Yeah. Dak Prescott, he's the highest paid quarterback. Like, if you look at their salary per year, it's $60 million. I think Joe Burrow is, I don't know if he's second or third now that Josh Allen is in the mix, but can you compete? Can you make it to the end of the Super Bowl and get that Lombardi trophy is the question. But I'm super thrilled for it. If you're Bills Mafia, I'm sure you're stoked to have him around till what was it? 2030?
2030, baby.
2030. How old am I going to be? Won't be saying that live, but that's
Cut
crazy.
that part of the episode.
That's crazy.
But speaking of that, I was going to ask you how old, because I realized I didn't know Josh Allen's exact age. Do you know, or like, do you want to guess?
I think he's 29.
Okay. That was
if I had to guess.
He was giving older to me considering all of his accomplishments. He's 28.
Okay. I was going to say 28 or 29. And just not like 30 yet.
Imagine having all of this success at 28. I, hand to God, could never. I was also reading quotes from him online regarding this contract because, of course, there's always going to be the people being like, you could have been more. Like, or you could have gotten more. You could have asked the Bills for more money. You are, one of the best quarterbacks they've ever seen. Of course, they're going to give you more money. And he was going on record saying, this sounds crazy to say, especially at 28 years old. He's like, another $5 million isn't going to make a difference in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people can say that. I think 5 million would make quite a big difference in pretty much everyone's life.
Yeah.
And he's literally being like, he was saying it in a humble way, not like I'm an asshole and I don't need more money because I'm already super rich way. Mm-hmm. But I get what he's saying of like, if he's already by far the highest paid on his team, he wants to stay on the Bills. I think he genuinely is a nice guy, very well liked. He's not trying to squeeze the Bills for like every dollar that they have.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, and I think that shows really good character.
Oh, totally. And I mean, there's other people that were on the Bills that are no longer on the Bills now that did have that kind of like star diva mentality that went to go find contracts elsewhere because they're, I don't know, chasing the dollar.
You can't be chasing the dollar. Stephon Diggs, exactly. And now I think, is he a free agent?
I think he is.
We'll see where that diva ends up next.
I saw that there was a rumor that he might go to either the Rams or the Chargers.
I feel like I don't think the Rams, now that they've signed Devontae Adams. The Chargers obviously need so much help.
That's true. Yeah.
So what I will say, Josh Allen, clear winner from that story. The loser, and I hate to say this.
Yeah.
This actually is not in my character to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. His ex-girlfriend is the loser.
My God.
And I know it's a football podcast and I know she's catching a stray, but I actually cannot imagine a worse person tied to this story than her.
Yeah.
Not only is your man succeeding, or your ex-man, succeeding in his NFL career, signing record-breaking contracts, engaged to the love of his life, Haley Steinfeld. We also may or may not have gotten an inside scoop while we were in New Orleans from someone who knows Josh Allen, lives in Buffalo, and let us know that the ex is a little crazy. And again, I want to say I recognize it. I don't want to be on here calling other women crazy, but I also think it's fair that we don't have to support every single woman just because she's a woman. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm sorry that I'm calling her crazy. I'm just giving you guys the scoop.
Yeah.
It seems like she may not be handling this well.
Yeah. And I mean, we also covered the story of when, was it around when Josh and Haley got engaged?
Yeah.
And like she had those like
in response,
cryptic IG stories. And then like she took it back and said that her thing was hacked, which is like, I don't know. I want to believe her, but there is a lot lining up, especially after meeting this guy at the bar who is a Buffalo resident. And the general consensus is that she wasn't very well liked, unfortunately. So I can't imagine how she's feeling in 2025.
It can't be good. Considering she seemed like even when they were together, she wasn't like super like, I don't know, like well liked by the fan base. I think she's maybe has created a lot of, I don't know, maybe some chaos in Buffalo. So I can only imagine how she's doing now considering this. I don't know if her Instagram's going to get hacked again, but that was just something I had to call out.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
On the football side, I will just give another loser because I'm sorry, I'm giving extra losers today. Tying into the fact that Joey Bosa is going to the Bills. Former Chargers player, the last remaining San Diego Charger, has now moved on to the Bills. I think that they're overpaying for him. So I'm going to say the Bills, as much as they're being generous with Josh Allen, they might be being a little bit too generous. And this could come to bite them down the line because Joey Bosa is very injury prone. And I also don't happen to think he's a great culture fit. I think he's a little bit of a diva himself.
Ooh.
So I'm just throwing out, I don't love that for the Bills. Happy for them that they get to have Josh keep their mans. You know, I'm not wishing ill upon Joey Bosa, but I have to say, as a Chargers fan, I wasn't too disappointed to see him not getting renewed for another year.
Yeah. I mean, best of luck out east, you know?
Peace and blessings.
But I do like what you said about the culture fit because, you know, now that Stephon Diggs is no longer on the team, I talk about him a lot, but you know, like, yeah, I mean, the way that he left the team was just like, it seemed a little dramatic because one day Josh and Stephon Diggs were best friends and all of a sudden a season happened towards the end. You can tell they're like, kind of fighting on the sidelines. They're doing interviews and like just not really speaking about each other. Like they used to pop in the back of each other's interviews and just like seemed very bestie behavior. And then all of a sudden he's out and now he's at the Texans. But a lot of people had questions about what the offense for the Bills was going to look like. And you're now realizing that maybe you don't need a star. You just need a lot of really solid guys that can like come through in the clutch, and that's exactly what they have now. And so it will be interesting to see how he's gonna, you know, spice up the dynamic, or if he will at all. But time will only tell. I wonder how that like first game is gonna go. But like obviously it's gonna change as the season goes on. So we'll stay close.
We'll stay close to the Bills. We are always happy to be honorary Bills Mafia, but congratulations, Josh Allen. Congratulations, Haley. So sorry to the ex-girlfriend. Sorry I called you crazy. I'm sure you're a nice lady. Maybe it's true.
We don't know you, so, you know, we'll find out one day. Yeah, all alleged. This is all alleged, but things that we are hearing.
Yes.
Well, speaking of divas, I'm wondering if there's someone, when I say this person is a sellout, who comes to mind?
I'm thinking it must be someone who was very vocal about wanting to go to a winning team, being sick of their current organization, saying, fuck the money, I want to win.
Yeah, you are right. I'm sure you're thinking about Myles Garrett.
I am thinking about Myles Garrett.
And this is such an interesting story because back during the Super Bowl, back in February, you're seeing Myles Garrett talking about how he's ready to move on to the next chapter. He wants to be a part of a winning culture, and he just didn't see that the Cleveland Browns being that answer for him. He said he didn't care about the money. It's not about the money. It's about getting the trophy. And he's literally on set with Rich Eisen. The Lombardi trophy is right next to him.
So close he can touch it.
He's so close he can touch it. And like, it's believable. And like when players decide that they are, you know, requesting a trade and putting it out there, they go on the circuit at Radio Row at the Super Bowl, you believe them.
Oh, yeah. Because it's like, they're all making a lot of money. You're going to be making a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And for someone like Myles Garrett, who is so good and so passionate about football, you got to be so sick of playing for the Browns.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably torture. So I definitely believed him. Like, sick. Maybe he'll play with Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Because it's also like there's mid and then there's like the Browns are just like a mess.
Yes.
They were like a dumpster fire last season.
And like they have major quarterback issues up and down, left and right, everywhere. So I'm kind of like, this is great for Myles Garrett because I'm surprised it's taken him this long to figure this all out. But of course, we wake up this week and we find out that Myles Garrett has signed a contract extension for $160 million a year. He had 2 more years left on his contract. So this in total brings his contract. The Browns have him for another 6 years. So that brings us to 2031.
Yeah, I think 2030 and 2031. Him and Josh Allen have their next 6 years mapped out.
Yeah.
Which is crazy that he let them make that kind of commitment to him. He said, I heard the dollar signs. I said, never mind. I don't need to win.
Yeah. And
actually,
after
who cares about
finishing
that?
the season 3 and 14, he's going to be making $40 million a year. Now, what makes this contract so interesting is looking back, he's now, as of today, the highest paid non-quarterback. He has the highest paying contract for a non-quarterback in the NFL in history. It's $40 million a year on average. Before the Myles Garrett contract came out, Max Crosby had the highest, and this lasted a whole day and a half before Myles Garrett came in. Max Crosby's contract was $3.5 million, and that's only 500. It's $500,000 more than the previous person, which I believe was Nick Bosa.
Okay.
So Max Crosby gets his contract. It's a little bit more. It's $35.5 million.
Okay, 35.
Then Myles Garrett comes in, and the Browns go, "We're going to pay you we're not going to raise you, $500,000, $1 million. We're going to raise you $3.5 million."
Yeah, they didn't
to
need to
reset.
do that.
This resets not only the defense, but every single NFL player position out there. And that's what's crazy about his story, because not only do I think, is he kind of selling out? Yes, because that totally invalidates everything he said during the Super Bowl, which those words are powerful, and it's making its way across America. And you're going on all of these different networks saying that.
Everyone's listening too.
Everybody's listening, and now you're like, I think it's kind of a sellout move, but I mean, good for him. He's making his money, and who knows if he's going to retire as a Brown. He's been there pretty much his whole career, I believe. And the Browns really need him, because they do need a player that brings people to the games.
Exactly.
They don't have a quarterback. So I think that this is a huge win for Myles Garrett, but at the same time, I'm going to say that the loser is also Myles Garrett for selling himself out.
I completely agree with you. Even as we're talking about how much money he's making, I think he is the loser in this scenario, because he completely just, did a 180 on, you want to win, you want to be on a winning team, you want to be on a team with a great, quarterback and every other piece that's needed. And you're Myles Garrett. You are able to go to a good team. He has leverage. So many teams want him. And he still said, I heard I could be the highest paid non-QB. And obviously that's awesome, but it's okay, then own that. Don't say you're this huge competitor that wants to go to a winning team. I'll say that if Myles Garrett is the loser in this situation, honestly, the Browns have become the winner in my eyes, because they were able to keep the fan favorite player, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Now that,
Totally.
not that Jameis Winston was a pillar of the Browns, but it's he definitely provided some light and levity to a very dark season last year, especially with all the Deshaun Watson stuff.
Yeah.
So it's you need something to keep these fans holding on for dear life in Cleveland. And Myles Garrett does provide that, because he's very good. He's very well known, and he's going to continue to make headlines. So now they're still getting people to the games. I am sad for them that they're losing Jameis Winston. I'm praying for the love of God he can come to the Chargers, because their social media team would do so well with him.
Or he just gets on broadcasting and starts doing coverage.
Anything that gets us more content from Jameis Winston. I don't even need him on the field. I just need him talking to the social media teams, the journalists, everything, getting in front of the camera.
Yeah.
What we did see right before we started recording was Russell Wilson is interviewing with the Browns, I believe Thursday. So we're recording Wednesday. So tomorrow, or whenever we release this.
Yeah.
He's also going to be interviewing with the Giants. So it's possible that we will be seeing Russell Wilson joining our friend Myles Garrett.
Yeah. I honestly think, I know we talked about this a little bit, but I think that this would be a good thing for the Browns, because I mean, they need a player, and they need a quarterback that can lead. He was with the Steelers for a year, did pretty good, made it all the way to the playoffs in just 1 year of being with their organization. I think that he's a safe bet for sure. He's going to be able to win games.
Yeah, but also like for the Steelers, I mean, he didn't really have to do much. Like their defense is just so good. He's gonna have way less help around him on the Browns.
Yeah. I don't know how the Browns will do completely with their defense.
I don't think they'll do great.
But
anywhere.
I mean, they will have Myles Garrett, so that's good for them. But yeah, I mean, it's I like how you phrased it, like definitely a win for the Browns org. Myles Garrett, maybe think about what you say before you say it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, everybody has a number in their head that is life-changing money, and maybe the Browns were able to meet it. And that's what kept him to stay. But you can't throw around those words if you have a number and it's like somewhat achievable. If it's like, like we weren't far off. I'm just looking at like my notes. Nick Bosa in 2023, 34 million. Justin Jefferson, 35. Max Crosby, right before Myles Garrett contract comes out, 35.5. Myles Garrett, 40 million. So big jump. Big jump. And this is really great news for Jamar Chase, for literally Trey Hendrickson, TJ Watt, like anybody who is looking out for that contract extension. This is great news. This resets the entire market.
Yeah, no, exactly, because it's not just his specific position. It's now the grouping of all non-quarterback positions. All of these elite players, Jamar Chase, of course, immediately came to mind with the Bengals dragging their feet on actually like renewing his contract. And it's interesting because the longer they wait, the more they're going to end up having to pay him because he wants to be the highest paid non-quarterback.
Yeah.
So this makes all the other teams start sweating, which is kind of funny that the Browns are doing that because it's like maybe this is the most nervous the Browns are able to make other teams is like in the offseason when they're just like, you're going to have to pay your guys more money now because of what we just did.
Yeah.
I'm also now wondering, like, I don't know how maybe manipulative and calculated Myles Garrett is, but I wonder if he this whole time knew it was his goal to get this $40 million number. He knows the Browns aren't really paying anyone else.
So true.
Maybe he's going around and doing those interviews at the Super Bowl, trying to kind of like make them jealous and be like, I'm going to leave your guys' ass and like make them really worried and think, what is our franchise without one of our stars?
Yeah, that's true. It gets back to the Browns.
Yeah. And so they're like, oh, he's serious. He's doing these interviews. We have to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Yeah.
And in that case, if
he's playing the game.
Yeah. And I like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll never know. We'll never know what the plan is. We just know that he is getting paid and he will be wearing a Browns uniform until 2030.
That's a good perspective. I hope that was the case because otherwise it's like...
He's either a sellout or he's extremely calculated. And it's kind of just like, obviously both are a little bit of a negative connotation, but I kind of hope that he's
look good.
Calculated, but also I think other people, like that is probably just such a common tactic if that type of thing works to manipulate your ownership in that way.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Totally.
Seems too easy.
He has a good PR person for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good PR person. If that was the case, then that was well played. You got me. And here's the thing. People won't really remember that conversation of like, oh, I want to trade teams. Like, no, they're going to remember the $40 million that you're making annually for the next 5-6 years.
That's what he's going to care about more. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We're waiting.
Wild story.
I know. So wild. All right. Next, in other big news, last week we talked to you guys about our whole boyfriend saga with the Vikings quarterback situation, how we got the ick from Sam Darnold. We're now thinking about our younger model. And now the joke is on us because the boyfriend we got the ick from has a whole new woman. And that woman is the Seattle Seahawks. She said, I am ready to pay you. Little did we know, our little cutie icky boyfriend was texting someone on the side and actually had an out plan. And that is the Seattle Seahawks. So in all seriousness, we're very happy for Sam Darnold. He got $100 million deal across 3 years with the Seahawks. And he's getting to be their starting quarterback. So this is awesome just because, like, if you guys are familiar with Sam Darnold's career, he's really had to bounce around a lot. Started on the Jets, went to the Panthers, was a backup to Brock Purdy on the 49ers. And then last year was, his record year, having a great time with the Vikings, really just defying all odds and all expectations against him. So he really was actually able to leverage that into a very good contract going to the Seahawks. And he there is reuniting with Clint Kubiak, who they worked together both in the 49ers. So it's a little bit of a familiarity that might be kind of what either sold him on taking the job there, or Clint was like, we got to get our guy. I know he's good. I know the potential. I've worked with him. So we love to see that. The one thing I'll say, though, is while Sam Darnold is major winner in my eyes for kind of going from like dud quarterback to like record year, now it's like a Baker Mayfield-esque story, it could get into loser territory when you look at the situation that he had with the Vikings and now what he is finding himself in with the Seahawks. Taking a look at last year's Vikings, he's throwing to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. He had the best coach in the NFL. The Vikings coach won for the best. And that is definitely not something that should ever be undervalued. The leadership on your team is everything. And I feel like they had all of the pieces of like strong fan base, treat the families well. Your defense is good. You have the receivers. The Vikings are very, very good. So it's easier to look good in that situation.
Yeah.
Now you're going over to the Seahawks. They have Tyler Lockett, who just left. They have DK Metcalf, who just left. And it's kind of like you have Jackson Smith and Jigba. Hopefully they're going to be getting more weapons for him. But it's a little bit more of an uncertain territory for him.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, obviously, that he continues to do well and stays a winner. But it's creeping towards, could be loser vibes, could be a bust of a season. And I really hope that's not the case.
Yeah.
But I am a little bit nervous for him.
It kind of reminds me of when you move into a new place that's furnished. Like that was Sam Darnold going to the Vikings. All of the weapons were there, as you mentioned, all the facilities, like treat the families well. They graded really high on their report card.
Yeah.
So he was like ready to go.
You want to play for the Vikings.
Yeah, best coach. And now at the Seahawks, there is a lot of movement happening across the org that it's very up in the air. I believe that Sam can do it. I'm hoping that he can like lock in on those big moments if the Seahawks make it to the Super Bowl. Or to the playoffs even.
Super Bowl is crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. To the playoffs. But I hear he's like a West Coast guy and, maybe the weather is a little warmer. I don't know how it is up in Seattle like year round, but maybe
rainy,
that will.
but I think less cold. I mean, he went to USC, so he is like an LA boy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if that will play a factor, but he will be closer to his family.
Which is always helpful. And I will say, I do think he's going to, as it stands now, an easier division, which is nice because these are the teams that you're playing twice a year. Coming from the NFC North, you're playing the Packers, you're playing the Lions, you're playing, the Bears. They're maybe going to put up a fight.
Yeah.
That is an extremely hard division.
Yeah.
What did I say? The NFC North? Is that right? What is it? Yeah.
For Packers? Or sorry, for
that is
Vikings?
NFC North, yeah. For all of them. And then now you're going to the NFC West, where the Rams, I think, are looking really solid. They're always going to be a contender.
Yeah.
The 49ers don't know what they're doing. They are getting rid of everybody, and it's looking very, very strange. They're cleaning house. So it's like all those memes that are like, is the Super Bowl window still open? Unfortunately, I do not think it is.
Yeah.
So the 49ers is probably going to be a little bit of an easier team. You got the Cardinals.
They're making some moves, but...
So it's like, okay, that kind of takes care of 6 games.
Yeah.
Just against those guys in the season. So it's like, at least 2 of those opponents, I think, definitely can be beat by Sam Darnold.
Yeah, definitely. And even going into somewhat of an easier league or division for this upcoming year. And not only that, looking at his stats, like he did pretty good when you're looking at from top to bottom, like all the QB stats. He was, I believe, in the top like 1 to 6th ranked quarterback.
Yeah.
From last season. So on paper, he's looking solid. Going into an easier division could be a recipe for greatness for Sam.
I hope so. I really hope the best for Sam. He seems like the sweetest boy.
Yeah, 100%. Well, in more quarterback news, let's talk about someone else who I think is winning, and he's actually in Dubai right now, taking shots
having a good time
at bottle service. We're talking about Justin Fields. He received a 2-year contract, $40 million on the New York Jets, who we know has been very up and down with their quarterback situation with Aaron Rodgers. And I'm just really happy for him. I think that he's had a really rough start into the NFL, but he's one of those polarizing quarterbacks where a lot of people believe in his skills, but maybe it's just not the environment. Maybe he doesn't have the weapons. We saw that on the Bears. We saw that on the Steelers. And he did really well when Russell Wilson was injured at the earlier part of the season.
He did great. He was
led
like
them
4-1.
4-1, 4-2. And so I think going to a place like the New York Jets, he's playing with his old classmate and former team player, Garrett Wilson. They played at Ohio State together. So hopefully immediately they'll have that, that one-to-one connection with his guy that he played with in college. So I'm really happy for him. I just it's always hard as empaths just to see these quarterbacks not do well.
Oh my God.
And especially when they're getting pressured, they're getting sacked. Luckily, the Jets have a pretty good defense. I don't know how, I'm not too in the weeds with their O-line. They might have lost some guys in free agency, but I hope that this is, a good place for him for the next 2 years. And hopefully we don't see any injuries or anything, fingers crossed. So I think that, hopefully Justin's feeling really good right now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely feeling good, celebrating in Dubai. Very happy for him. I also think it's such a limited quarterback market right now, especially looking at the draft. There's not a ton of superstars. Also, just there are some teams now left in free agency without a solid quarterback. So the fact that the Jets acted on this, got their new guy in, got some young blood in after having Aaron Rodgers and having that for the last 2 years, I think this is going to be really positive for them. So very happy. Justin Fields is winning. Who I think is a loser in this scenario is going to be the men who let him go in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because the Pittsburgh Steelers, at least at the time we're recording this episode, do not have a quarterback. They don't have a date to the dance. They do not have a man to hold their hand as they're
to the dance.
A date to the dance. They don't have a date to the dance. And I'm getting worried for them because there are very limited options. They're going to end up with someone else's backup. And it's like Justin Fields, as you said, did very well at the beginning of last season before Russell Wilson stepped back in. There really was no need to even take him out. It wasn't that he was struggling. It was just that they had every intention of starting Russell Wilson. By the time he was healed, they're like, let's get this guy in. We have him for, the year we want to use him.
Yep.
And Justin Fields played great. Again, of course, the Steelers, they have the great defense. But now what you have in the Steelers locker room and looking ahead to the field next year is just, it's such an interesting picture. I would love to request they get put on Hard Knocks because I'm dying to see this dynamic. You have newly signed DK Metcalf, who is absolutely a character and is not afraid to get in a little fight, yell at his coach on the sidelines. You have George Pickens, who will literally murder somebody. There are videos of the ball is going one way and he's punching someone on the ground 20 yards away. These men are menaces. It's so funny.
Yeah.
You have Mike Tomlin, who is sassy, crazy coach. He's so fiery. So those three guys together, I'm already this is insane. It's going to be so hilarious. You add Aaron Rodgers to that mix, to that locker room. Those two guys who are probably going to be fighting each other, fighting over getting targets, not getting thrown the ball enough. Aaron Rodgers is going to be yelling at them if they run their route incorrectly. Mike Tomlin is going to be pissed the entire time at all of this dysfunction. And I'm just I need Hard Knocks to roll up with their cameras. I need a full-on MTV style documentary made of these men and their time together. As much as I'm they're the losers because they currently don't have a quarterback, I want it to be Aaron Rodgers, and then I want a 24-hour live cam in that locker room of all of those men interacting, just because I feel it will be better drama than reality TV.
Yeah, and I'm sure all of those guys are fire signs. Can you imagine? They're just so
look at their signs,
barking at each other all day at practice. I mean, that's tough. It's unfortunate timing because Hard Knocks just wrapped with the AFC North last year.
They need them back.
They need them back.
Just with the Steelers.
Yeah. And I can already see it now. Aaron Rodgers, if they have a bad game, he's taking it out on the player that ran his route wrong.
Yeah, he's in the press conference. And then you have George Pickens tackling him and be like, bitch, I didn't run my route wrong.
Blaming it on everybody but himself.
Literally.
I don't know if that would be a good I don't know if I'm feeling that energy.
I think it'd be a horrible fit. It would seriously be like their post-game press conferences would be like confessionals on Love Island, where they're going in and they're talking shit on each other and like, it was this person's fault, it was this person's fault. And then Mike Tomlin's looking with his big eyes and he's like, I can't handle this anymore. These guys are crazy.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so funny. But like, they're all such good players.
Yeah.
The talent would be insane. It's just like you have 3 Dobermans and you need a golden retriever in there.
Yeah. And Russell was that golden.
Yeah. You need to soften them up. Justin Fields, a little golden.
Yeah.
You get Aaron Rodgers with those 2 fiery receivers. Good luck. They are
good
gonna
luck,
be throwing
babe.
punches during the game.
Lots of fights in the Steelers in Pittsburgh.
I just, for the drama aspect alone, I really want them to get Aaron Rodgers. Maybe it'd have the opposite impact and he can keep those guys in line and you need a big personality like game recognized game. But I can't stop thinking about all the funny videos I've seen of all of them and like losing their temper.
Yeah.
And like all of them together in the same locker room.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
good.
I can't believe Aaron Rodgers is still wanting to play. Like just period. I mean,
he shouldn't.
We would have thought by now he's doing peyote in Peru or something, you know? And here's the thing. Do that. Love it.
Love
Ain't
that.
no hate on that. No shade at all.
Got his book deal.
But
he's making money on that. He doesn't need anything else.
He has, what's the show on Netflix called that he has? It's like, it starts with an O. It's like a very,
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name.
So he's making moves.
Got Netflix money.
Yeah. It's so crazy because I feel like, is it called like, it's not epitome. It's something. I'm getting closer. Anyways, he has like so much duality to him because on one end he's like doing these silent retreats and doing yoga, meditation, and doing ayahuasca, and I love that, like very woo-wah, like
very interesting man, very
spiritual,
complex.
all of that. And then on the flip side, he's masculine energy NFL his whole career, 20s, 30s, and going into his 40s. So it's such an interesting dynamic. He's like an interesting person to me. I would have thought by now he wanted to slow down and be like, you know what? Costa Rica's calling me.
Please. If I have that kind of money, I'm retiring.
Yeah.
If I had that kind of legacy, I'm retiring. If I have the Netflix, the book deal, I'm getting out of my job so fast.
And people already know how good Aaron Rodgers is. He's a future Hall of Famer, like won the Super Bowl. They put him in like one of the best quarterbacks in history category. What can you do in the next 1 to 2 years that will make that any better? I doubt you'll be competing at the level that you were.
No,
I could be wrong, and like would love to be proven that.
I don't
but
think you're
at the
wrong.
same time, like I don't think so.
Well, it's not only that he can't do better, it's that he's going to actively make his legacy or not his reputation worse. Cause it's like, we're remembering the Aaron Rodgers that won MVP 4 times, Super Bowl champion. And what are we going to remember from his time on the Jets? The time that he carried the American flag out and then tore his Achilles and then had the most mid-season.
Yeah, we don't want another one of those.
Keep that American flag away from him. If he comes out with
cursed.
the Steelers and he is carrying that American flag, George Pickens, I'm going to need you to steal that from him and get it out of his hands because that is a curse at this point. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm like, it's just kind of funny.
It is funny.
That's why I want a reality show made out of them.
I mean, on the flip side, it would be great if he's on the Steelers. Does bad.
Good for the Bengals.
Great for the Bengals.
Great for the Bengals.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't mind.
We actually don't mind.
I will say,
I changed my script.
Yeah, we would like that to happen. But the other kind of scary part of this for the Steelers and why I'm holding strong that they are the losers in this scenario is they, again, don't have a date to the dance. And who is an eligible quarterback right now? You have Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers as like the 2 skilled quarterbacks left to snatch up unless you want like, you bring in, I don't know, Jameis Winston, who like
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. The second string guys who, maybe you just kind of like buy some time for the next season. Like the Steelers don't have a good seed in the draft. I think they're like 21 or something. So they're not going to be able to get a very skilled quarterback there either. Mm-hmm. Kind of screwed.
Yeah, they are.
Looks good for the Bengals and Joe Burrow.
Hey, All I'm saying is, who day, baby? We going back to the Super Bowl.
And who's the real winner? Hopefully the Bengals.
The Bengals. Awesome. That's all our stories?
I think that's everything. I mean, you guys, there has been nothing but chaos going on in free agency. We obviously couldn't cover everything, but that was, I think, our favorite. We know we're not here to break any news to you. We just kind of wanted to deep dive and analyze the moves that have been made. The moves are going to keep continuing. We're approaching the draft. I think it's such an exciting time. I think you described it as like sorority rush is kind of what it feels like with this like free agency and then with the draft. And it is really similar because you have people retiring, graduating, moving on, and then you have opportunities to kind of steal people that maybe you've been talking to that aren't, affiliated quite yet or are, released. You have all the new freshmen coming in.
Doing a little dirty rushing.
Do a little dirty rushing. And no matter which way you slice it, your team is going to look very different. Your sorority chapter is going to look very different. Yeah. And it's just whoever takes advantage of this time is going to have, they're going to come out on top. Yeah. You can't be asleep at the wheel. You can't be the Cowboys right now.
You got to wake up. You got to be ready.
Wake up, NFL coaches.
And we're excited for the NFL draft. That's happening in April, end of April, I believe.
So excited.
Very you guys think that just because NFL is over, there's no games that you should be sad. No, this is one of the juiciest parts where all of the potential brewing drama then bleeds into how the dynamic of the team is into the season. Oh my God, and it's just, this is where it begins, really. And we're excited about it. We just had the combine, free agencies right now, NFL drafts happening. I mean, there's so much we can cover. And we hope that you're here for the ride.
I'm going to say a hot take that maybe I should have clickbaited open the episode with. So my hot take is I think that free agency is the most exciting week for football of the entire year, including the season, the Super Bowl, the playoffs.
Whoa.
I think there's no more exciting part of the NFL.
That's true.
I was refreshing the NFL Instagram page. I was refreshing tweets looking for Adam Schefter to drop a bomb on us. I was refreshing the Reddit account of the Chargers to see if anyone had any leads. I'm not glued to my phone like that any other time of year. And people are like, oh, the Super Bowl's more exciting. No, it's not. If your team's not in it. We were there and
not at the game,
but we were near the game. We were in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. We'll leave it at that. But it's there's actually nothing more exciting that all teams are involved in, that there's so much drama. There's so much just what's going to happen. There's money. There's betrayal. There's new faces. There's goodbyes. And it's just the shakeups are insane. And this year is no exception.
Yeah. I mean, they don't call it free agency for nothing.
They do not call it. These boys are free and they're crazy.
Yeah. And they want their money. They want their money.
Give me my money. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope you love the new studio and our new segment and all of our fun news stories. We will be back. And we can't wait to discuss more with you guys.
Yay. See you next time.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
One more cheers. Oh, cheers.